So, Mike, that's a question I'd like to pose to you. You're a big fan of those types of games, Witcher and Skyrim and things of that nature.
Yep.
So, with that adventure style, I personally, I've never played Skyrim, I've never played The Witcher, I've never played those epic single-player adventures because, personally, I prefer to play games with friends.
Yeah.
So, would you not...
But you're familiar with them because of Legend of Zelda and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
correct?
of course, yeah. I've played through single-player campaigns. I'm in the middle of Kingdom Hearts right now. One of my favorite games of all time is Kingdom Hearts, and Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker. Some of those are my all-time favorite games. But if you gave me the opportunity, if I were able to play Sora and Neil, you were able to run around as Roxas in Kingdom Hearts, fuck yes, 100%. I would love that. I prefer something that I can play a single player. Like Fable. Fable's a good example. I can play a single player, or I can invite a friend and they can be in the world with me and play alongside me in my adventure. Do you...
I actually didn't know that was a thing with those.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, Fable 2, they kind of did a shitty job with it, but Fable 3, they perfected. It was great.
And then they closed down, so...
Yeah.
Well, there's that. But, so... I know you're a very big fan of those games, Mike. Specifically, Neil, I know you got your BioShocks and all those things as well, and that follows in the same category. So, with games like that, would you want that capability?
So you got your BioShocks. Sorry.
Yeah, you got your BioShocks, and I remember
how many BioShock games are there?
I was reading this.
There are 3. I understand. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It just was funny.
Pluralized bastard.
I understand. It was just funny to hear that as a plural.
So anyway,
I was having a phosphate down at the drugstore, buying my BioShocks and listening to FDR's broadcast on the radio about how we beat the Japs.
That actually
in World
sounds
War
like
II.
it would be in BioShock.
It kind of does.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Anyway, to answer your question.
With those games, would you prefer that be an option, or do you like them just as they are, staunchly single-player adventures, and there's nothing to be improved there?
Very situational, depending on the game. So
okay, but any game, if I could put out there, any game could be improved given that option. You don't have to use it, but that option could always be there. There's no reason it shouldn't be.
No, I don't agree with that. So so in some cases it would work, in some cases it wouldn't. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that any game would be improved by that. Witcher 3 actually the whole Witcher series is the easiest one to pick on, and I will, just because they're it's my all-time favorite. But so that game is predicated upon a narrative arc built in a very specific way around Geralt, and the game from a conceptual standpoint is designed to take you through that. There's another game actually that's
to be clear, and I guess pardon the pun, I guess is what this would be, but you're a lone wolf in that game. That's kind of what your character is.
You are. But
and I think it'd be kind of cool to have like missions you could do on the side with somebody else.
Are you going to let me answer this? Are you going to let me answer this question or not? Are you going to let me answer this question or not? I have thought about this. So
go on.
In the case of Witcher 3, no, I think it would take away from the core experience of the game. That is meant to be a great, and it is a truly great, maybe the best single player narrative RPG, action RPG ever made. It is damn near flawless. It's the top rated game on Metacritic for PC ever for a reason. It is the way it is supposed to be. I do not think it would be improved upon by a multiplayer element, because that's not within the confines of the concept of the game. Now, there's another game actually that's on Game Pass right now. It's called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That is the exact same way, and it's actually, you guys should go grab this because it's gorgeous. It is beautifully rendered. A really, really great looking game. The acting is phenomenal. It's creepy as shit. The combat's really fun.
I've been hearing really good stuff about
it. Go great. I mean, it doesn't cost you a penny. Go download it. But same sort of thing. It is about the journey of this one character who's battling psychosis, and that's the game. That's your experience within that game. Now, something like Skyrim is different. So Skyrim is much more of, and you could say this about the Fallout games too. Skyrim, Fallout, some like Zelda Breath of the Wild, anything that's kind of, or some of the Assassin's Creed games are like this as well. Those are more sandboxy, right? Those are open world. Skyrim is the easiest one to pick on and the one I know the best, because that's much more about exploration. It's about dungeon diving. It's you know, much more about tooling around in the world. The story is there, but it's not the part of the game. Like there are side quests in Witcher 3 that are better than the main story of Skyrim and that are longer than the main story of Skyrim. So
you know what's funny, Mike? As I was actually gonna agree with Remy that you could add a multiplayer element to most games, but then what's funny is he brought up BioShock as a offhanded moment, and I realized that Infinite would be yes, there's a multiplayer arenas thing in that game, but in terms of the story and exploring that game would totally lose all of its vigor.
Yeah, well, and so
no pun intended, I'm sure.
And so Remy, for example, when we did some streams of Divinity, which I know you weren't a big fan of, but in terms of, so when I played that game by myself, I got into the story, I got into the characters. It really, I put 200 hours into that game. It really sucked me in. Playing it with other people, you lose that. You not to say that playing co-op in that game isn't fun. It is, but it's a totally different experience.
It's just a different kind of
game. It's a completely different experience. You're focused more on the combat, and you're like, it's like, oh, how should I do this build and blah blah blah. You don't give a shit at all about the characters or the writing or the acting. Or the through line of the story, all of which is fantastic. You lose all that.
See, where I'm coming from, I prefer co-op games. That's my favorite part of gaming, is playing with my friends.
Yeah.
Not necessarily against, but generally going through a story with my friends. The Borderlands of the world, the Halos of the world. I have played through both of those games single player. I have played through those games with 2 people. I've played through those games with 4 people. And every single time I've enjoyed myself. Like you said, it's very different. So why not add an option? Whether it's the way you want to experience or not, why not have that option? Why is that degrading to a game rather than an addition?
I don't think it's degrading to a game. I just think that it is a conscious choice that the developer can make based on the way the game is constructed. And in some cases, I think it's like I said, I'm not saying that it should never be there or always be there. I'm saying it's very situational. I would have loved a co-op mode in Skyrim. Co-op in Skyrim would be fucking awesome, which is why Elder Scrolls.
I'll probably never play Skyrim because it's not.
What's fun about that particular example is because it's a sandbox and you get in some weird kind of situations in Skyrim.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot of fun to share that with someone.
It would be.
To share. Yeah, we went into this village and suddenly 3 wolves attacked and we had to deal with whether or not we wanted to and then they blamed us for the wolves or something weird like that.
That's what it boils down to, is that shared experience, that shared oh my god, do you remember that time when we were playing and this happened? And it's otherwise I'm telling somebody, oh, I was playing Skyrim and this dragon attacked. Nobody fucking cares. They weren't there. They don't care.
And Remy, I would say that most games, I think you're right, that would work well for it. But I keep thinking back to particularly BioShock Infinite. I think I can imagine BioShock the original being And yes, I understand a lot of the story pivot points wouldn't work for co-op in the original BioShock, but particularly the Infinite, the relationship you have with the non-player character of Elizabeth is such a pivot to that reason that game is so good. I don't think it would be good with the co-op. So I think that...
But if it's an option, that's just the way you experience the game. You can choose to experience it single player and enjoy that connection with a non-player. Or you can have something to talk about with a friend. I personally think that any game can be improved upon. I will likely never play through The Witcher or Skyrim or any of those games simply because I'd prefer to play a game with you guys. The only reason I'm playing single players right now is because I don't have a fucking internet.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the BioShock Infinite example would be you would more or less need 2 Elizabeths, and I know from my experience of playing through Halo with you in the past is I don't remember what the hell happened in Halo 3 until I played it through recently, because every time I played it through with you, we would be talking about stuff and I never paid attention to the story.
Yeah,
so
but that's a choice.
I had a lot of fun.
You have that option of playing it by yourself.
I understand I had a lot of fun with Halo, but I think that the gameplay in Halo holds up enough to that we could have fun, and there's some weird wonky experiences you can have that game with that gameplay that I don't think you can have with the same kind of gameplay in BioShock Infinite.
I don't know. I've said my piece. I completely disagree with everything you guys are saying.
Shocking.
I get what you're saying.
Really? You and I don't.
There's a few examples where it doesn't quite work.
I know, Mike. This shocks you, but
you and I don't see eye to eye on this. I'm flabbergasted. Really, you think every
Mike, John, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, John's been quiet for like a half hour.
I was letting you guys. I mean, you are very passionate about this particular thing. And but ultimately, just to cast my vote, so it's a good even tie, and we won't get any resolution. I agree. I actually agree with Remy. And what I would say to give an example is, and this is going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people, I think, it's important for a fish restaurant to serve chicken tenders. You don't have to eat the chicken tenders, but if you want to, they're there.
That's excellent. Well said, John. I completely agree with that.
I love that.
You don't
I
have
love
to
that
fucking
John is like,
that.
Let me bring it down to food for you.
Jesus Christ, that is the most southern explanation you could possibly give. It's like, well, they might serve this one sort of fried food, but I want to know the other fried food is there. That's all I'm saying.